The world marks the 26th annual World AIDS Day with cautious optimism that an end of the AIDS epidemic is perhaps in sight. Despite the gains, the White House today issued a statement saying there's much more work to be done. Certain groups in America are still vulnerable to contracting HIV. Biz Ghormley is Director of Development and Communication with Allied Services Center of New York City, which is a multi-service community organization for New Yorkers living with and at risk for HIV/AIDS. Biz, welcome to Arise America. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, as we mark this day, and it's a very important day, can you sort of give us an update on where we are with successfully treating and or curing HIV?
Yes, well, today is a holiday that we've been commemorating for my whole life. And at this point, we're actually at kind of a tipping point between both commemoration and remembrance of the millions of people we've lost, but also a real excitement about the potential for people to be living long, happy lives with HIV/AIDS, and also to prevent future infections.
And we've seen many examples of that. Of course, probably the most high profile would be Magic Johnson, who got an HIV diagnosis, gosh, I don't even know how many years, more than 20 years ago, 25 or so, and still living a very healthy, successful life. But also, even in this last year, there have been reports of young babies that have gotten certain cocktails of treatment and then sort of went into remission. One particular case came up being HIV positive again. But is there hope that there might be a cure within our lifetime, particularly yours, since you're younger than me?
The combination of medical research and activism and community work has really brought us significantly forward. There is hope. We would all work towards a cure for sure, but I think the remission that you talked about we call undetectable. So people who are able to access that cocktail that Magic Johnson was one of few to be able to get years ago, now many people, whether they're the poorest or the richest people, are able to get that medical care. Now, sticking to the drugs, following along, getting the community support to make sure that people feel positively able to continue their lives and set new goals, it's a web of support that goes around what it takes to deal with the stigma and the medical challenges of a diagnosis.
And how much stigma is still out there? It seems like we've been talking about the truth of HIV/AIDS for so long that there wouldn't be much stigma, but there's a statistic recently that came out that only a third of people that have HIV are being properly treated. That means 2/3 are not.
Yeah, and 1 in 5 are infected and don't even know it. So the stigma to even get tested and even consider the possibility of getting the virus is still really real. And then once people receive a diagnosis, oftentimes mental health challenges like depression and unemployment, homelessness come as domino effects to the real blow. People are kicked out of communities and families still. So there's also work to be done, and kind of a cure for the stigma would be wonderful too.
As I read in my notes, I understand that there is a $3 billion shortfall in controlling the disease every year, and we know that certainly many high-profile people, celebrities, are always raising money for AIDS research. How could that money make a difference?
Well, the research is a big part of even knowing what's possible for the cure, and then the money that also goes towards all the organizations and hospitals who are making sure that people are tested and then put into care and also able to go beyond that care. All of the money is well spent on lives that are very valuable and are being wonderfully lived as they're able to. But also in the political realm, the commitment of folks like Governor Cuomo to step forward and say, we're going to put a task force together as a web. We're going to come together and aim for an epidemic-free New York State by 2020. This is other kind of political power and also positivity that is going to help us get to that goal.
And part of what your organization does is that education, the peer education, as you call it. Explain what that is and what the realities are for someone living with AIDS in this day and age.
Well, I think we all know that if you've been through something, it's a lot easier to tell someone who's just starting to face the facts on a similar issue what it's been like than for someone who has never had an experience to go and walk someone through something. So a peer education platform is really based on people who have been either living with HIV or who have been affected by HIV and have been in the community for a long time, partnering up with folks who have recently gotten a diagnosis or who are struggling with their care, and really being an escort to medical appointments, being an ally in the process, but also being a supportive teammate in the goal of personal kind of positive change in their life.
All right. Such an important topic, Biz Ghormley. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.